right, everybody, good evening to all of you. So happy you can join us today on this April 6th, Thursday evening. My name is Savannah Louie. I am here at the Atlanta News First Alert Desk. We have your top 5 stories for today. Going to get you everything you need to know as we look forward to the end of the week. Just one more day left and then it's the weekend. And we'll have meteorologist Patrick Pete with us in just a moment here, but going to go over 5 pretty important headlines that I want to make sure you guys know about before we head in for the night, should we say. All right, first story. This is pretty much taken over everybody's social media feeds, I think, right now. It's really the big story happening at this minute here in the Atlanta metro area. You don't even need to be in the Atlanta metro to enjoy this story. Just some good old-fashioned baseball. Showing you some video from earlier today, as we know that today is the Braves' home opener. They're taking on the San Diego Padres right now. That first pitch was at 7:20, so right now they are in about the third inning here. Score: Atlanta Braves up 1-0. Yeah, that's how we want to start it here at Atlanta. Now, things are looking pretty good for the Braves. They have been 5-1 so far on the season, and they haven't even played a game at home yet, other than this one, obviously. They had the 4th best winning percentage in the majors last year. So I think a lot of people are really feeling optimistic about what they can get accomplished this year. Now, tonight is a sellout. I want to go ahead and show you some more video also from earlier today. This is from the Braves walk that they did earlier today. This is over in the Battery. You can see tons of people out there cheering on their team, getting ready to go inside that stadium here. A lot of fun, a lot of energy here. Now, again, today is a sellout. Tomorrow, also a sellout. Saturday, yep, you guessed it, a sellout as well. They do have standing room tickets available if you really want to go. I'm sure you can also find some tickets through secondhand sites. Just be careful about where you get those tickets. But we have watched fans lining up, crowding outside the stadium hours before those gates opened. And then also, I don't have any video of this, but we did notice that, there were so many other activities out there today. We saw music, a live DJ. We saw Blooper out there hanging out with some of the fans, getting ready for baseball season. So a lot of really fun stuff going on there in the Battery and then over at Truist Park as well. Can't wait, hoping that the Braves pull off a win tonight. How would that be to start off the season for their home opener here in the Atlanta area? Very rare that we get to open with a great, good story. So I'm happy we could bring you that one tonight and start off with that. Now I do want to move into something a little bit more serious. This is really concerning. A story I hear out of Midtown today. This was done by our reporter, Zach Summers. And for this story, we're going to take you here to this Hampton Inn and Suites. This is here in Midtown Atlanta, where a visually impaired man is calling for change after he claims he was stuck inside an Atlanta hotel elevator without Braille. So, Mario Bonds tells us he was in town late last month for work and he was staying at that hotel, the Hampton Inn and Suites in Midtown. And he said he didn't have a problem when he checked in because someone actually helped him to his room on the 17th floor. No problem. However, he said that the hotel's elevator soon became a safety hazard once he tried using it on his own. He had trouble getting to his floor because those elevators only have smooth digital touch screens. I know we showed you them on your screen moments ago. We'll see if it pops up. There it is. So you can see here, no Braille on that screen there. You can only use that touch screen. Now that man tells us he was trying to pick up his food delivery on a different floor. He got in the elevator and realized the control panel was touchscreen. The only buttons with Braille were to open, close, and call for an emergency, and a wheelchair accessible feature. Bond says he was stuck for at least 10 minutes on that elevator. He says a valet driver eventually helped him get back to his room, but the front desk staff were no help when he raised those concerns. Now, Atlanta News First also spoke with the National Federation of the Blind, and they tell us while most elevators include buttons with Braille and raised print, there isn't a transparent way for blind people to activate digital control panels. We also spoke to a spokesperson for the hotel. They tell Atlanta News First the hotel is aware of those reported concerns. Providing a hospitable, welcoming environment is the essence of our business, and it is our policy to comply with all ADA regulations. They are also investigating, and there is a little bit more on that statement. We have that full statement again from a spokesperson of that hotel on AtlantaNewsFirst.com or the Atlanta News First app if you are curious about looking more into that story there. All right, third story for you tonight. This is some exciting news for the future of solar power right here in the Atlanta area. Well, you're going to have to drive a little further out for this story. All right, Vice President Kamala Harris gave a historic investment announcement today about the largest ever in U.S. solar power. She made her second trip to Georgia earlier, announcing a massive order of solar panels for Dalton-based manufacturer Q-Cells. You're looking at that facility right here on your screen. Q-Cells will now fill an order with 2.5 million solar panels. And for some perspective here, that's about 140,000 homes just from this one order. The new partnership between Q-Cells and Summit Ridge represents the largest investment in solar energy in American history. And here's what this means. It really follows other big energy projects announced in Georgia. So, for example, if you've been following along with new electronic vehicle plants for Hyundai and Kia, along with a huge expansion of EV battery maker. Well, there's a lot going on here. Clean energy has been a huge issue for the Biden-Harris administration. They will likely use this announcement made today as a way to appeal to you, the voters who want but can't always get that solar energy. So it'll be really interesting to see the implications from all of this as we look towards, obviously, solar power here in Georgia, but also as we look forward to the 2024 election, right? It's going to be a big one. All right, moving on. This is another story by our reporter Amanda Rose here. Really interesting story here out of Gwinnett County. This beautiful land that you see here, well, this is a family's home. The Livesey family has owned a former plantation in Gwinnett County for over a century. They actually bought this former plantation, it's called the Promised Land, back in 1920, and they were descendants of slaves who were once forced to work here. Today, a lot of this property and the original home are actually owned by Gwinnett County, and the county plans to turn it into a museum. But now, the county wants the remaining 2 parcels of land, which belongs to the Livesey family, to develop into a public park. It includes a lake, a store, and apartments. Now, the county could soon take the rest of this land by eminent domain, legally forcing those owners who have had this land for more than 100 years to sell it. The county says it wants to preserve the land's history, but the family worries that the focus of the project will be on the plantation owner, Thomas McGuire. If you are not familiar with Thomas McGuire, he wrote a series of journals of antebellum life, reportedly inspiring Gone with the Wind. Now, the county says nothing has been decided yet, but there will be a meeting on April 25th where Gwinnett County board members will vote on that eminent domain proposal. That proposal will just allow them to take the land from these owners. Now, if this vote is successful, the final decision will be determined in court. A lot to keep our eyes on here, and remember, that final decision is going to be on April 25th here. All right, final story for you tonight. I thought this was a pretty interesting one. For anyone who ever struggles with sleep, I think that's so many of us. If you either sleep too long or maybe sleep too little at night, we've got some real bad news for your health, okay? Not only are you probably going to be a little grumpy and groggy the next day, you could face some serious health problems. A new study finds you might be more at risk to have a stroke. This is according to new research in the journal Neurology. It looked at the sleep habits of nearly 5,000 people, and it found people who slept too long or not long enough were more likely to have a stroke. It's very concerning news here, I think, for most of us who don't really sleep too well at night. Now, the research does not show that sleeping problems cause a stroke directly. It only increases your risk for a stroke. And I'm not just making things up here. Research shows that about 50 to 70 million Americans have sleep disorders. 1 in 3 adults do not get the recommended 7 hours of continuous sleep. This might mean that folks are waking up in the middle of the night, not sleeping too well, I know I'm definitely one of those people, and I'm sure many of you at home are as well. So hopefully with that knowledge in mind, you can make some good decisions before you go to bed tonight. Maybe instead of drinking, I don't know, a cup of coffee. Who's drinking a cup of coffee at 8 p.m.? I don't know. Maybe instead of a glass of wine, you'll go for the tea. Meteorologist Patrick Peake's going to hate on me for that one. He's a big wine drinker.
Very much so.
He's laughing over there. All right. Well, with that said, thank you so much for joining me tonight here on this lovely Thursday evening. I'm going to send you a picture of our weather cam, which tonight you got a pretty good view here. A little baseball action. And we've got meteorologist Patrick Peake on deck. And Patrick, you were at Truist Park earlier today. You had so much fun out there.
I almost stayed. I was very close to staying. It felt amazing out there. A little warm, but nothing that we couldn't handle. Definitely was a beautiful evening for some baseball. We dodged a couple showers earlier on in the afternoon, but things have been pretty quiet, at least for that area as of late. There are still some spotty showers that are firing up across portions of North Georgia, so we're going to be watching that. Actually, a couple of thunderstorms as well. Saw some outflow boundaries. So if you do get a cooler wind, that is actually going to be some cooler wind coming out of a thunderstorm. That's just as those thunderstorms kind of grow, the wind intensifies, the downdraft intensifies and comes out. And it's going to be cooler because it's coming from the upper levels of the atmosphere, and I've been seeing some of that around as well. Meanwhile, very warm numbers out there this evening, but we are looking forward towards the next couple of days as we are tracking 2 first alerts. And we're talking about rain and some rumbles of thunder in the cards for your Friday. And this is all associated with the front. Temperatures are going to be dropping, especially as we head into Friday night. And Saturday is just going to be cold. We're talking about actually hitting our daytime high Saturday, the low 50s at midnight. And temperatures are going to be dropping from there. So just be prepared for a very chilly Saturday with the rain that's going to be on and off for a large chunk of the day. We start to dry out as we head into the late evening, and that's going to set us up for some drier weather for your Easter Sunday. We earlier this week had about a 20 to 30% chance of some showers, but it looks like that system is actually going to clear out quick enough for us to have a lot of dry time on Sunday. Still not sure about the Easter egg hunt and stuff outside, just because the grounds are definitely going to be damp, but we are going to see that drier pattern at least take hold through the beginning of next week, and temperatures will eventually start to rebound closer to seasonable norms. Now, here is our excessive rain outlook. Right now, the northwestern corner of the state has about a 5% chance of seeing a flash flood watch issued as we head through Friday. And that means that that's the area that we're going to expect the rain to be the heaviest. So there is a 50% chance of showers, but we're not expecting everybody to see all of that rain because it's a lot of times we actually don't have this conversation because there's not enough time in a newscast. But our percentages that you see as far as rain chances, it's actually a combination equation of our confidence in rain and the amount of area that it's going to cover, because it'd be awesome if I could follow you around all day and, forecast for your specific spot. That's what the First Alert weather app is for, by the way. But whenever we're on TV, we're talking about our general area, and that's why we show all of the different cities that we show in towns, and that's sometimes why we cut into programming for severe weather for places that you aren't, because we're forecasting for the general area. So we expect to see a good amount of rain tomorrow, but the bulk of that rain is going to be north of Atlanta. Still a rain chance elsewhere, but we expect the folks in extreme North Georgia to get the heaviest of this rain. So here's that hour-by-hour forecast as we are first alerting for scattered rain. And it looks like a good amount of us get rain earlier on in the morning, but as we head into the afternoon, you can see how the southern half of the state or the region starts to dry out. We see those temperatures climb into the lower 70s in places like Atlanta, LaGrange, Thomaston. Meanwhile, those spotty showers are still going to be present in places like Calhoun and Blairsville. So we're going to see those numbers in the upper 50s, low 60s, because the rain's going to cool the atmosphere. So we'll be watching for those showers north of I-20 at around lunchtime, and then as we head into the evening, we'll have a better chance for everybody to pick up on a little bit of rain. Those showers are going to be widely scattered, stray rumble of thunder, much like what we've seen today, and then we'll see those rain chances diminish for the 7 to 8 o'clock time frame before they ramp back up heading into the overnight and into Saturday, which is where we expect the bulk of the rain to occur. Taking a look at that same excessive rain risk for Saturday, you can see that we're still talking about a 5% chance of rain, but it's for areas south and east of essentially the I-85 corridor, along south and east of the I-85 corridor. That's going to be the best chance for seeing some of that flash flooding. Once again, it's a 5% risk. It's not the same risk that we had about a week or so ago for portions of Upson and Pike, Lamar, Troup counties, where we saw all of that rain. We're talking like 7 inches. We're not talking about that type of event, but we are going to be watching just to see how some of this training of rain occurs. And here's that hour-by-hour breakdown of your Saturday, because we're expecting more widespread rain and we're expecting it to be heavier at times. Early morning, leaving the bar, club, whatever you're doing early morning, those showers are going to be plentiful and temperatures are going to be dropping. So hopefully you have a rain jacket and hopefully you have a sweater or something under there, because we're talking mid to upper 40s through the early morning hours. And then the numbers really just don't rebound much because we have that northeasterly flow dominating the forecast. And then we're going to have rain and clouds around. So we'll be tracking those widely scattered showers at 2 o'clock. And then as we head into late night Saturday evening, those showers will start to push on off towards the south and east, and we'll see some drying and some clearing. That's going to lead to temperatures getting even colder as we head into the start of your Sunday morning. And here's that updated rain forecast, and we're talking about widespread 1 to 2 inches of rain across the region. So going to be a good soaking for us. Meanwhile, that game's looking pretty good underneath the 7-day forecast, but we're watching temperatures tomorrow get into the low to mid 70s for a couple of hours, especially where locations that are going to stay rain limited. North of the city, I do expect you to be a little bit cooler because of that, getting into the mid 60s at best. Meanwhile, Saturday's temperatures are going to be dropping through the day, so it's going to feel like the 40s for the bulk of the afternoon. We will dry out as we head into your Easter. Temperatures are going to rebound back into the 60s, and then we're going to see that warming trend take hold as we head towards your Tuesday and Wednesday. And we've actually been talking in our chat. We have a 7-member team of meteorologists, and we've been looking ahead because, we show you the 7-day forecast. We like to look ahead to see what the models are doing as far as 10, 11, 12 days out. So just so that we can be ahead of the curve. And there's something very interesting that we're watching that's going to be taking place in the Gulf of Mexico. Still a little too early for hurricane season, but there is some sort of low that's looking to try to develop and move inland. And that's where that rain chance that's coming in on Thursday is coming from. So we're going to be on top of that, watching it, staying tuned to it, dialing into the amount of moisture that's going to be into it, because it is going to be a low that's originating in the Gulf of Mexico. But we will be the first to let you know how much rain we're expecting for that. Right now, that is where that rain chance in the forecast for Thursday is coming from. So, I don't know if you guys were with us earlier on any of our shows, but I was out at Truist Park. It was great. My first trip to Truist Park, which was nice. But I have some catching up to do as far as the forecast, tweaking some timelines of some temperature drops for the weekend. And I'm going to have that updated information for you coming up tonight at 9 and 10 on Peachtree TV and on ANF, Atlanta News First, at 11. So I'm going to leave you to the 7-day forecast so that you can make your plans. And, I don't know, maybe this is a good weekend for chili. I would say gumbo, but I saw some of y'all's comments on my Facebook post of my gumbo that I threw together quickly. Y'all thought it was really watery, and I'm going to let y'all live as long as y'all let me live. But I will see you guys tonight on the newscast. Y'all make it a good day.